Have you ever stared at the ceiling at 2 a.m., mentally replaying a conversation from 3 years ago? You know, the one where the barista said enjoy your coffee and you replied you too. Yeah, that one. Or maybe you just spent 45 minutes trying to draft a 2-sentence email to your boss. You read it, you reread it, you change thanks to best, then back to thanks. Then you delete the whole thing and start over. You are paralyzed. Overthinking isn't just a quirky personality trait. It is a mental prison you built yourself. You'd think being smart means thinking more, but actually, thinking too much is making you incredibly stupid. Here's the trap. We think overthinking is problem solving. It's not. It's just spinning your wheels in the mud, pretending you're making progress. You think you're preparing for every possible outcome. If I say X, she say Y, then I'll counter with Z, and then everyone will clap. You're playing 4-dimensional chess against a ghost. Meanwhile, real life is passing you by. You are stuck in the lobby while everyone else is playing the game. And the worst part? You know you're doing it. You tell yourself to stop. But your brain is like a browser with 40 tabs open. One of them is playing loud music, and you can't find which one it is. It's exhausting. You wake up tired because your brain ran a marathon while you were trying to sleep. You spend so much energy analyzing the past and predicting the future that you have zero energy left to actually live in the present. You're essentially paying a massive tax on your own imagination. And for what? 90% of the things you worrying about never even happen. That's just a fact. So, what's the standard internet advice for this? Just stop overthinking. Oh, brilliant. Thanks, Chad. I never thought of that. Let me just find the off switch behind my ear. That is as useless as telling a drowning person to just breathe water. Or maybe the self-help gurus tell you to download a meditation app. You sit there, cross-legged, trying to focus on your breath. But now you're just overthinking your breathing. Am I inhaling too loud? Is my left nostril blocked? Am I doing Zen correctly? Or my absolute favorite, journaling. You write down all your chaotic thoughts. And congratulations, now your anxiety is documented in physical form. Rookie mistake? These solutions suck because they treat the symptom. They don't treat the disease. They assume you can just command your brain to shut up. You can't. The truth is, you cannot stop your brain from producing thoughts. That is literally its job. That is like trying to stop your heart from beating. But you can stop taking every single thought so seriously. Here is the actual, practical way to break out of the overthinking loop. Step 1. The brain dump and burn. When the spiral starts, you need to externalize the noise. But do not just write it in a cute little leather-bound diary. Write it on a scrap of paper as aggressively as possible. Every stupid, irrational fear. What if I fail? What if they hate my shirt? What if the presentation crashes? Get it all out. Then literally throw it away. Rip it up. Toss it in the trash. The physical act of moving it from your brain to an object and then discarding it signals to your primitive lizard brain that the thread is gone. It sounds dumb, but it works. You are hacking your own hardware. Step 2. The so what protocol. Overthinking thrives on vague and defined dread. It is never a specific fear. It is just a general sense of impending doom. You need to force your brain to the end of the line. Ask yourself, so what? You send the email with a typo. So what? Your boss notices. So what? They think you're slightly careless for exactly 5 seconds. So what? You are not going to get fired over a typo. When you actually define the worst-case scenario, you realize it is usually just mild embarrassment. You can survive mild embarrassment. You have survived way worse. Remember that haircut you got in 2018? Exactly. We overthink because we are afraid of uncertainty. But when you drag the worst-case scenario out into the light, it is usually just a tiny, harmless little bug. It is not the dragon you thought it was. Give the monster a name and it stops being scary. Step 3. The 70% rule. Overthinkers are usually just perfectionists in disguise. You are waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect words. Newsflash, perfect does not exist. It is a fairy tale for people who are afraid to try. Adopt the 70% rule. when you have 70% of the information. Or when a project is 70% good enough, you execute. Launch the thing. Send the text. Make the decision. Action is the only antidote to anxiety. The moment you take action, the overthinking stops. Why? Because your brain now has to deal with reality instead of hypotheticals. Reality is tangible. Reality can be managed. Hypotheticals are infinite and unmanageable. Just do it poorly. A poorly executed plan today is infinitely better than a perfect plan tomorrow. Overthinking is just a massive misallocation of your brain power. You are using a supercomputer to play solitaire. Stop trying to predict the future and start dealing with the present. The worst thing that happens usually isn't even half as bad as the 500 scenarios you invented in the shower. So take a deep breath. Lower your impossibly high standards to a reasonable 70%. And just do the damn thing. Anyway, I'm collecting donations in the form of subscribes to fund the next video.